Hey, this is Hans from Request for Music, and in this video I'll be looking at the mixer that is part of the F SYN module. So first of all, let's let this look at all of the F SYN modules, just F and underscore, and it'll get you all of those. So the mixer, what is it? Here's the mixer, and as I've said earlier, I'm going through all of the modules, or probably mostly all of the modules, to just have a look at what they're doing. The mixer itself is not the normal standard kind of mixer that you have, but it is a way to mix some signals. And there's 3 outputs on the right of the module, and to the left there's 9 inputs, and they're bundled by 3 to 1 output. So I've got 3 inputs and I've got 1 output. And there's every one of those parts has a switch on top. So I've got an in switch that I can use, and you'll have to look at this part. It now adds those signals together. If I switch this, it's going to multiply those. That's a star and asterisk. And the last part is a division kind of thing, a modulo. It behaves different, and I think I'll better put some stuff in there. So of course I need at least 1 oscillator. Actually, I think I'll take 2 of those in there. So I take my 2 oscillators in there. It's going to the mixer, and then I'm going into a filter, and I'll take an ADSR in there as well to put it in. I'll align everything to the left so it's nice and cozy on the side of that screen, and I'll put the multi oscilloscope by Weevil in. Let's see, so we can have a look at what it does. So okay, first of all, of course I need some input. I'll go straight into this mixer, and I'll take the output to the input of my filter. And obviously if I'm now putting this into my input there, it's just giving you sound, nothing else, nothing special. And of course I need more, so I need some signal from my pitch in here, and I take my actually it was already changing the sound because I was set to the div kind of thing, but we'll show that later. So I need my ADSR to get some signal from the gate. I'll take the output, which is the envelope, into my VCF. I've got this already hooked up to the output, so that should be it. I can close the octave setting for my filter, so no sound is getting through unless it's driven by the envelope. So that's what it's doing at the moment. I'll take the output up a bit. I'm not quite sure how loud it is, so I'll have to look at that. No, it's not really that loud yet. So anyway, I don't even have to do this actually. So let's get this back to the default value, because actually on here there's a level that I can set for the input. So that means that if I take this and drive it up, I can indeed get more output of that signal. So this is just a mixer. So I can use that to mix any signals in there. And first of all, let's hook this up to the output. I'll hook it up to this output so it's not being opened by the ADSR, so to speak. So change the scale a bit, and I've got this signal, which is just the normal sine wave. And if I do it like this, it's just adding whatever signal to it. So if I want to mix in the other one as well, I can just put that in here, and it's adding those signals together. And this one is not driven by the pitch yet, so now they're both in harmony, unless I change the fine tuning for this, and obviously this decides which one I hear the most of those 2. So that's not really that important. The other one is that if I switch this to the star sign, which is multiplying, I actually get sort of a ring modulation effect. So it means that if I change this, and let's change this to some bell kind of setting, and then I get some, ring modulation bell effects. So, and there's obviously a whole world that you can try and explore using that, because obviously there's a whole kind of thing, or a whole lot of things that you can do by modulating oscillators and that kind of stuff, for instance, to do that. Let's take this this one out still. So I'm back to my original sine wave and put it back somewhere. So okay. And the last thing that was in there by using the switch is the div kind of thing, and the modulo behaves quite different in what it does to those frequencies, as you can see. So actually it's taken part of those sine things out there, and as you can see, it depends on the signal going in. So normally if I'm not too loud, it's not doing too much, but at some point it's starting to behave differently, and you get these kind of sounds. So the volume does make a difference. So I have a completely different kind of sound at the moment. As you can tell, it's still, let's go back. This was a normal sine wave. Hope it's loud enough. And then if I drive this up, at some point you hear those extra frequencies coming in, and there's more resonance or more harmonics coming in again. So I can use it for that, and obviously the second one would have the same effect. And if I wanted to just mix this with a standard signal, so I want to take, for instance, the sawtooth out of the second oscillator and put that in, I can obviously not go straight into my output then, but take this, I'll take this out as well. I can just go into the next one, and then take the output of the other oscillator in here, and then just add those together. So now I've got a combination. Just have a combination of those two. So and let's see what kind of a wave we've created at the moment. So it's a combination of those two. So I've got a sawtooth and the other wave as well. And obviously if I'm if I do something like this, and maybe just take it down an octave or whatever. So put it to -1. So yeah, that alone is already quite some stuff that you can do with that. And since you have 3, you could actually add this to something else as well, or maybe multiply it there. Because the next thing is that you say that I wanted to actually have this signal being driven apart or multiplied by using a mod wheel, for instance. Then I could take this signal out again. So let's take all of those out, sorry. Take this into the third, put that onto multiplying, and then take my mod wheel to amplify or to multiply that signal. Sorry, I'm using the wrong word all of the time. So I'm taking my mod wheel, so that means that there's hardly any signal depending on if my mod wheel was on just slightly. So it's not on at the moment, but now I can use this to drive it in. So if I would take my normal synthesizer sound as well and I take that straight into the filter, then I have my original sound, and I can drive this in. And obviously, I might have to make this louder too. So I could do that kind of stuff. Another thing that you can use this mod wheel kind of thing for is that, say that I'll take all of the cables out for now, just disconnect everything, and I'll put it in front. Because most of the time what I do is I like to keep my signal flow sort of visual. So that means that in this case I'm going to add an extra module. I'm going to take my FLFO, so that's the low frequency oscillator that's coming with the bundle, and I'm taking the triangle out to this, and I'll take the amplify side of things, and I'm taking the mod wheel in again, and I'm putting this into my frequency modulation. So I'm also taking the second oscillator out, taking this into the input, of course, because otherwise I won't have any signal. And even with a normal sine wave, I could do that, of course. So I'll take this, and this is my frequency for my LFO, so I need to speed it up a bit. It's going to be somewhere around the 5 hertz to be able for me to use it as vibrato or something like that. So the signal is going into the mixer, and the mixer is taking the mod wheel to multiply that. So when it's at 0, I'm not getting any vibrato, and when I do drive it up, so do that, and well, the amount is driven by this. So most of the time I dial it all the way open at first, see how strong it is, see how the speed is, something like this, and then when I drive it back, so that's nice for this. And another way, of course, is not to use a sine wave but a square wave and go into this. And obviously this is far too strong now, but if I take this out, it's not going to do anything unless I use this output from this driven thing again. So oh, I need to switch it on, yes. And I think it's, in this case, it might be better to take the timbre modulation, because I can set the level of that easier. So the actual sound is then set by the envelope, so something like this, because then obviously I can use my ADSR to sort of lengthen the sound. Maybe I want sort of a shorter peak and then going back to a sustain level and some release. Something like this. Drive the envelope open a bit more. Something like this. And now I can take the timbre modulation to, indeed, and this is far too strong, as you can tell. So I either take less of this, so anyway, this is the way that you can play around with just the mixer to have fun with all kinds of control voltages that you need. Because obviously, even if I yeah, maybe that's a nice last thing to try. If I use my VCOs and I copy this to have a second VCO in there, and make sure that I connect that up to this as well, and this one is not set by an external signal yet, so at the moment I could just put this at whatever frequency, and then but of course I need a pitch, so, or most of the time I would like to have a pitch anyway. But if I use my plus mixer value, and I'll just put this to 1 because the 1 was an a multiplier as well, was also amplifying that signal. So if I have that at 1, I can actually go all the way to 2, and I can do it the other way around to -2. It's an attenuverter, so to speak. So I'll put it at 1 first, and I'll take the pitch of the signal in here, and yeah, I was driving all kinds of other stuff, so I'll take this out, and I won't even use the modulation wheel this time, but I'll just take the output of this and go into the pitch or the external input of the second oscillator. So now it's normally driving that one, and I'll let's see, is this good enough? Yeah. Something like this. But now instead of using 1 as a setting for this, I'm going to do it at 0.5 or something. So let's do 0.5. And now the pitch signal is divided by 2. So that means that if I set this up an octave first, so, and maybe I have to even set it up higher. Let's see, I'm not quite sure. Okay, so now I'm at my middle C, I think. So there the setting is okay. So let's go back to 1 again. But now the rest of the scale is going to be halved. So you hear that the last note is again a C, but I've already passed 2 octaves this way. And if I would do it the other way around, so it's at 0.5 now, but if I do it at -0.5, it would go the other way around. So I'll probably have to take this up a couple of notches again to take it to the same frequency. So I'm at 3 at the moment. So even if I would do -1, for instance, it would actually create a normal scale, but then the other way around. So even there, the mixer can do quite a lot of stuff to the things that you want, and obviously you can still add an LFO to this signal, for instance, because then you would change the frequency for. So let's say that I do just normal +1, and I'll take my LFO in again. So I'm going to add this signal to this. So now it's very deep, of course. I'll have to take this back a notch. And then I'm not frequency modulating the VCO itself. And I'll have to switch this. I'll switch it back even more. I'll switch it to 0. But now I'm just adding that LFO to the original pitch. So yeah, that means that I can do it do stuff like this, or maybe even drive the VCF with that as well. Again, I mean, that's the main advantage of using a modular synth. So there's so much places that you can put your signal into, and yeah, try to be creative that way. Well, I hope that has given you some ideas on how to use the mixer and what it can be used for. And well, I hope to see the stuff that you're doing and listen to the stuff that you're doing somewhere on YouTube or something. Have fun with it, and I'll be back in the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.